Soundstripe.
So thanks Anita for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Well, first of all, can you help us understand what the RDA, so Regional Development Australia, does and what your role within the Barossa, Light, Gawler, Adelaide Plains branch is?
It's an exhaustive region, but we're not the only ones. Actually, Regional Development Australia is a program that exists right across Australia.
Yeah.
South Australia has a little bit of a different model where we're funded by 3 levels of government, and we are really here to promote and support businesses and industries and the community basically to thrive. So there's really a lot of different initiatives that we're funded to do, and being a non-government organisation, it gives us a bit of flexibility to be able to work with the region
Specifically in what its core needs.
Exactly. Yeah.
And what's your role there?
So my role is Regional Development Manager, which is quite broad, but it gives me the option to work with businesses at any level, small to large. I also work with industries as a whole as well, in particular the tourism industry. And then I also run a regional leadership development program as well, which is a new initiative.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, yes, and as I won't say user of your services, but it's been a great resource to have, and particularly I think with that focus on your immediate community as well. So, what sort of challenges do you find have probably popped up more regularly or more often than not, given that the Barossa region and your further sort of region, we're an hour and a bit from Adelaide. What kind of probably challenges do businesses find more often than not?
Probably the most common issue that pops up is workforce, and the fact that you're sort of in competition with more of the metro locations to not only offer the services but also the lifestyle to actually get people to move up here. So it's about building awareness to make people realise that, especially in our region, we are so close to the city really.
That's it.
Get there in under an hour. We actually do have a lot of the services that you could get. Plus you have the country living lifestyle as well.
It is a good lifestyle. And
so there's like a piece in there about attracting the workforce to actually come and live here and work here, but then there's also, I guess, some solutions in there when it comes to...
Because you've done a bit of work in the past about that, so how do you help in your role? How have you helped provide some of that support for businesses or certain industries? Like I know hospitality industry was quite sort of important to help boost it, probably still probably an industry of focus.
Absolutely, yeah. So at a higher level, RDAs do sort of advocate for things like skills and training, and we can sort of feed the information through to people like the Skills Commissioner and the government departments that need to know about those requirements, the training organisations. We also can provide sort of one-to-one sort of support for businesses as well. So we run the B2B business program, which is very much about working with businesses for actual targeted support. So it gives them the opportunity to connect with a professional. We like to think of ourselves as the conduit, I guess, to sort of
facilitator as well, isn't it? I think it's that sort of connector. And so how does that work? So if someone's got an idea or they've been working on a business concept, what sort of steps would they take?
So we always really encourage businesses at any point to give us a call if they've got, a challenge. That it could be a specific challenge, or it could be, I can't get employees,
or a strategy problem.
That's right. Or I need more customers, or it could be something really broad like that. Or they could come across an opportunity that they really want to take up, but they're not sure what they need to do to get to that. So we always get them to contact us. We often will sit with them, just go through where they're at with their business, and then from there we can sort of start to refer them on to the right people. So this B2B program is basically an opportunity to offer subsidised support from a professional service provider. So the idea actually in the first place when we were developing this program was around building awareness of service providers. You know, going back to that original comment about building awareness of the services that we have here in our region.
Almost like a directory, wasn't it? So
that's right. And
going, oh, where can I find a good accountant, or who can I find that's someone that knows how to do website design or whatnot?
That's exactly right. And it's, you know, we make sure that we keep in contact with both those service providers and the clients to make sure that that service is really top notch as well. So you can, you know,
and it's a vetted directory, so it's you know, there's an application process as well. And you're not just referring people on to anyone, but you're actually going, this person and where they're at in their business right now really needs this expertise, and this is the person that will fit well with them.
And sometimes it's a matter of personality matching as well. You know, like we've got a few different accountants on our list, and they've got, you know, their own personality, but also their passions and their expertise. So to be able to actually, you know, get to know these providers,
like a matchmaker, really.
That's exactly right.
And match them together. And then, and I guess, you know, once they sort of go through that program, so it's subsidised, which is important, because if you're, you know, at the start of a business journey as well, there's also not necessarily a lot of funds to invest at the start, but you also want to test out your idea, test your market, test the strategy to see if it's actually going to you know, to fly. And I guess how else can businesses, you know, look at that, I guess, that market testing or exploring the potential for, you know, new ideas, which can be, so it could be a new brand or a new business, or even a pivot within their business, or a new, you know, product or brand.
That's right.
What sort of are key things that people would need to look at,
I think,
and consider?
I think it's really important to have a really clear plan in place. So to spend some time before actually going out and launching, actually spending some time on what they want that journey to look like and what the end point is almost. And it gives them then a really good structure to sort of step backwards and work out how they're going to get there. But you know, it's easy when you get stuck in the operations of the business to sort of sit back and go, are these
aligned with actually what we want to be doing?
That's right.
Where we want to get to, and that's important even for established businesses to check in and have a resource like the RDA to check in and evaluate regularly, so that you don't go so far off course that it causes problems or a headache, but that you can kind of tweak, we're off course a little bit, let's go back, actually this is not an opportunity for us, hang on, come back to where we want to be. That's right.
That's exactly right. So that planning, I think, is the really important first step in that journey. So there's a lot of things you can do to like research the market. It's a really good idea to get involved with a local or a state industry group as well, just to offer that sort of two-way communication, so they can provide insights and trends and different sort of things to consider when you're starting in that industry. But also on the other side of things, they can advocate for all the businesses as one. So if you're feeding back, you know, the challenges that you're having or the successes that you're having, they can then feed that back up to the right people as well. So that's pretty important.
And also the thing that I've liked as well is having, you know, some of those networking events, or, you know, breakfast or in evening type events, because it means that you've got other people around you who are, you know, seeking to sustainable and good business within your region as well. And that's how you can meet lots of other like-minded people as well.
Exactly right.
And do you manage that program for
we do. So part of the B2B program is regular networking events, and we try to include a learning component to those events as well, based on sort of the common questions we're asked or challenges that have come up. So we just recently had one with Mella Olsen, who's one of our B2B providers. They did an update on employment law. Which, awesome. You know, it's such a minefield. So
but also good to have, you know, have those opportunities to go, actually we need to look into that more. You know, like having those little, and I think Ange did like an SEO one, you know, but they're those things you go, we must look into that more. So it's good to have those as reminders, and as you said, the RDA operates slightly differently in each state, and probably in each region will have their own
program
and focus, I suppose.
Yeah, that's right, exactly.
But really important to, I think that's the thing, is let more people know that that's a really valuable resource.
It is,
because you've got someone there that's in and around your region, can give you really good feedback and help you along your way.
Absolutely,
And then if you need to access that B2B program as well, so that's like $55,
and you get 2 to 3 hours
with an expert,
which you can probably address most challenges within that amount of time, you know, or at least, like, you know, if it's something
get
like
a really
website,
clear strategy of where you need to go forward as well.
Absolutely, so it's a really good service.
So what are some examples of businesses who have used, you know, resources like the RDA, and how have they found that to be fruitful in their business and turned things around?
We've worked with quite a few businesses across a lot of different industries as well. So we've worked with a number of horticultural businesses out on the Adelaide Plains. We obviously they've had some weather challenges and different sort of challenges out there recently. So we were able to kind of work with them, as well as the Northern Adelaide Plains food cluster, to sort of provide support through, you know, the challenges that they were. And a lot of them are on the other side now, just to be able to take a step back and actually look at their business from that strategic point of view.
With some fresh eyes and
absolutely.
Support.
And also just, I guess, a few different organisations taking advantage of different trends to be able to sort of grow or diversify their business. So agritourism is a huge trend at the moment, and such a great opportunity for our region as well, because we have so many businesses that are in that side of things. So we've had, you know, some people at Barnes of Freeling, and they've, you know, been able to really diversify their income by
renovating silos for accommodation. That's fantastic. And it's a great spot there that they've got, you know, and they've really taken some really big risks and looking at those opportunities, haven't they? They've done a really good job.
Yeah, they really have. So there's that part as well. Environmental and sustainability, another trend that's going on. There's wineries and different organisations that have been able to take a sidestep to be able to address that side of things and help with the circular economy and all the rest of it. So
and there's lots of things, and no matter what, you know, size of business you're at, you need to have that regular review, don't you? You need to have that regular step back, have a look at the bigger picture.
That's exactly
and see how things are tracking, how they are aligned with your business goals and and desired outcomes.
That's right. But also market demand as well, and, you know, what's the gap that your organisation is filling? If you're finding that in your area the competition is growing, then, you know, if you can take a step back and say, okay, within our organisation, what gaps or what solutions can we provide? Then it's just a, you know, the old pivot.
I used to love that word before COVID. And agility. I love that word.
Great, I know.
COVID, thanks a lot. So if looking back on sort of, you know, developing concepts or new ideas, what are some sort of steps? We talked a little bit about, you know, having some of that feedback and planning straight, you know, right at the get-go and the start. I like my office. What are some other, I suppose, resources and things that people can use to take along for that startup journey or that new idea journey? So that sort of, as it gets to mature, you know, as it sort of matures from either a business idea or a concept. What's the next steps from there? I think,
once they've got that plan in place, I guess the next step is sort of maybe even creating a bit of a prototype of the product, or going onto social media is a really good option, just to sort of test out your idea directly with your market. So, you know, and you really need to make a big effort to seek feedback directly from your customers.
As much as you may not want to hear.
Sometimes
the constructive feedback.
Yes, that's right.
You want to just hear everything's great.
Yes. yes, but sometimes, you know, you do have to hear that. And that's where mentors come in real handy as well, you know, organisations such as yourself, Shelley, to be able to like sit with somebody and actually ask the questions about things that they might not even considered, you know, but to come in from a non-biased sort of third-party view, it does make a big difference.
And especially at the startup phase as well. So, you know, so for example, you may have, you know, a small group of clients or it hasn't grown quite as big. Take that moment to interview, seek some feedback, do a request for feedback form.
That's right.
See, is it actually what you're delivering or what your, you know, product or your service is it actually connecting with who you think your target audience is? Because once your customer base grows too big, it's quite hard to get that feedback as easily. So when it's sort of small and you're starting out, that's the time to go, oh, do you know what? I love doing this, but nobody really appreciates it or wants it. It's not useful.
That's right.
So I actually probably shouldn't be focusing on that. So you can make some of those adjustments early on.
Yeah, and find out what really resonates.
Yeah. And then if you're then going to grow and scale, then you've got more of a focus for knowing what's going to hit, what's going to fly.
That's right.
Rather than sort of spreading yourself too thin and trying to do lots of things half-assed.
Yeah.
You can be a bit more strategic.
That's right. Yeah, that's exactly right.
But also, getting somebody to give you that feedback with, you know, honesty, and you need to also accept it and go, oh, my great idea wasn't so great, I didn't love it. Yeah. And then go, well, okay, then, you've got to build a bit of that harder skin, because if you seek feedback, then you can grow from it.
That is exactly right. Yeah. And, you know, like, there's plenty of amazing business people out there, entrepreneurs who are doing amazingly well that have tried a few things and they've fallen over. You know, like it's all part of that business journey, isn't it?
Yeah. And that's it. Those setbacks will happen, but you know, as you go forward, you can recover better from them, I think.
You learn. As long as you do learn.
If you don't learn, then you're an idiot. So just to sort of, I guess, summarise, you know, for a startup, how to turn those ideas into action, what would be your key sort of takeaways for that, and what things to have in place to really support that, you know, that business or that business owner on their journey?
Always reach out and seek help from other business owners, organisations like RDA, the Regional Collective. We also have business coaches on the B2B program. So as many different opinions as you can get, I think that is key. Yeah. And then you can sort of run your ideas past somebody. So that definitely would be my number one. Planning, of course. Make sure you're really clear about what you want that plan to be.
And get nitty gritty into the numbers.
Yes.
And really understand those. Yeah. Like, I think that's one of those things that people, the numbers will happen, it'll go. No, you really want to know exactly the ins and outs. And, you know, we'll talk a little bit about that with Johan. He's the number man. Yeah. But certainly that, you know, sometimes it's uncomfortable. Oh, if we have a bad month, what's that going to look like? It's good to test that model out, test it out.
That's right. Yeah.
And see it before you start.
Yes.
And go, look, if nobody buys anything for 3 months, where are we at?
What am I going to do?
Yeah, what's the plan?
Yeah.
That way you're prepared and you can make better decisions along the way.
Definitely. Yeah. And have a really clear idea of what your financial story should be. Yeah. You know, what is that end goal? Are you wanting to just make an income and, you know, just sort of
just want to cover costs and be comfortable? Do you want to grow, scale?
That's right. Do you want to have, you know, 50 employees on the books, and do you want to be a big organisation? So it's really important to know where you're heading in that way, because then you can set your margins accordingly, I guess. Yeah. Again, Johan will go into more detail.
But I think also, you know, we look at, you know, we're looking to support small and micro businesses, because again, no matter what size you are, even if it is, you know, you're on your own, you're a micro business, you're never going to have any employees. These are still implementable strategies, because we want you to be sustainable.
That's right. Yeah.
And that's just as important as if you were going to start, you know, and scale and then sell your company and all, you know, whatever your plans are. The structure still needs to be the same. The strategies still need to be the same. You're just doing it. It may not take you as long as someone who's got big plans for 100 or so employees and a
Exactly.
global brand with trademarking, that's
Yeah.
it'll take them longer to work on their plan,
It will,
but
definitely.
you still can't miss that step.
No, that's right, and not stretch yourself too thin as well.
Yeah.
And that, again, referring back to the B2B program, there's another sort of purpose behind that was to help people realise where they can outsource.
Yeah.
Because I think when you're running a business, you kind of go, oh, I'm the only one who can do all of this.
Yeah.
But to be able to take that step to actually kind of consult with one of these professionals, you can realise that you can kind of go.
That's it.
It's in
Do
your
the things
hands.
that, and I think that's the thing of you do the things that you love to do and you do well,
Yes,
and
yes.
that bring the most value to the business.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then the other bits, identify and when you can,
Yeah.
outsource.
That's
When,
right.
sometimes you're in it and you just have to be all and everything. But then there comes a time, and that's where, the B2B program can help, or talking with your RDA development manager like you is to go, do you know what, Shelley, your time isn't worth spending here.
Mm-hmm.
Have a look at some of these and see how you can outsource part of that, because then your business will get better because you're doing the thing that's in your zone,
That's right.
and
Yeah.
then someone else can complement it.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah, how many people got into business to do something they love, and then
Yeah.
it's all the other stuff that's
That's
around it that you
business, jobs, I think there's other people, we get into careers where we're suddenly going, why am I in people management when I started winemaking,
Yes.
but it got into people management.
That's
So,
it. That's it.
We
Yeah.
sometimes get a bit further away from where we really wanted to be.
Mm.
But yeah, and are there any other things coming up for the B2B program?
Mm.
What's on the cards for 24?
Yeah, I'm working with a couple of the providers to map out exactly what topics we could cover.
Yeah.
Digital marketing is a really big and interesting sort of topic for people.
Yeah.
It's a really simple way to get out there and tell people about your message, basically.
Yeah.
So that will be a focus coming up. We also we're working with Office for Small and Family Business
good.
at the moment. They've got their sustainability program about to roll out.
Yeah.
So we're working with Brooke over there,
yeah.
and we'll hopefully have a sustainability workshop coming up soon,
Yeah.
which will align nicely with that new grant that they've got coming out
Yeah.
for energy efficient.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we'll have
And that's
that.
the other thing, like you guys, the RDA is a really good point of contact to, make sure you're on the newsletter, because when those grants come out, you guys are right on it
Yeah.
and can help. And there's, people that can do grant writing and help assist with that on the B2B
Yes.
as
yeah,
well. So,
that's exactly right.
for
Yeah.
small and medium-sized businesses, always looking for help in that area. That's another good resource.
Yeah, and it's good for us to know who's looking for grant funds
Yeah,
as well, because then when something comes through, we can sort of match it straight away and
And get on
people
that, because
a heads
sometimes
up.
there's only a short window, or sometimes you need to have worked on a proposal and then just wait for the grant to come out and then go, because sometimes it can take quite a while to put all the information together for the application.
That's
So,
it, absolutely, yeah. So we always say as grant ready as you can be,
Yeah,
the better.
yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
they don't give you much time.
No.
And they're always very competitive as well, so it's
Yeah.
like an award application, you
Yeah.
really need to make sure it's thorough.
That's right.
So we can help with letters of support. We can also do economic modelling just to sort of show the impact of a project to the region.
Yeah.
So there's all sorts of different resources that we can provide to
Yeah.
support the applications.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. Well, thank you very much for sharing, what the B2B program does, what your role is, but also, get help and that support that's out there for regions. So within their regional community, look for the RDA, find out what their support program is, and get in touch with them, because it can help with getting your ideas turned into reality.
Absolutely.
That's it. Awesome. Thanks, Anita.
Thanks, Shelley.